The House Ethics Committee says its probe into Florida Representative Matt Gaetz and his sexual misconduct allegations is expanding. In April 2021, the committee announced a review into allegations of sexual misconduct and illicit drug use, sharing inappropriate images and videos on the House floor, misused state identification records, converted campaign funds to personal use, accepted bribes in violation of House rules. But now, in a rare statement, the committee announced that the scope of the probe has now shifted. In addition to the long-standing sexual misconduct allegations, the panel said it's also looking into whether Gaetz has sought to obstruct government investigations of his conduct. The committee is reviewing allegations that Representative Gaetz may have engaged in sexual misconduct and illicit drug use, accepted improper gifts, dispensed special privileges and favors to individuals with whom he had a personal relationship, and sought to obstruct government investigations of his conduct. Representative Gaetz has categorically denied all of the allegations before the committee, notwithstanding the difficulty in obtaining relevant information from Representative Gaetz and others. The committee has spoken with more than a dozen witnesses, issued 25 subpoenas, and reviewed thousands of pages of documents in this matter. Based on its review, the committee has determined that some of the allegations merit continued review, but not all. The panel announced in their statement, with the suspension of existing probes into 4 allegations of wrongdoing, the committee will take no further action at this time on the allegations that he may have shared inappropriate images or videos on the House floor, misused state identification records, converted campaign funds to personal use, and/or accepted a bribe or improper gratuity. Cenk, this is a lot. Do you think they have him here? What do you make of this?
Thanks for watching. Our audience has helped build TYT into the media giant it is today. Together, we can accomplish anything. Support our work and join us at tyt.com/team.
So this forces me to defend Matt Gaetz a little bit and it puts me in a position I am very uncomfortable in. So look, if you haven't watched the show at all for a second, you might not know, but I don't agree with Matt Gaetz on 98% of stuff. He did have a good bill on insider trading in Congress, banning that. And one good bill on money in politics. Okay, 2 out of hundreds and hundreds, et cetera. But obviously we disagree. In fact, we had Matt Gaetz on the show and I asked him about the sex with the 17-year-old and he's never come back on. Okay, so it's not like, oh my God, I'm worried about that issue. Like I would like to protect Matt Gaetz. I would not like to protect Matt Gaetz from that. So what's my issue? My issue is anyone who challenges the establishment, all of a sudden we dig and dig and dig until we find something. So Madison Cawthorn was a great example of that. He's a good Republican in good standing, never had any controversies, never this or that. He said crazy stuff about liberals and left wing and Democrats all the time, outrageous, terrible stuff. Nobody ever finds a thing. He says something against Republican leadership, all of a sudden, tons of pictures of him in drag and this and that and the other girls and against family values and okay, it turns out some people have done things wrong in their lives. P.S. Everyone has, okay? So now what Matt Gaetz did might be way worse and it might be something that should be punished. But the problem is that the system has lost all credibility. So Bobby Kennedy challenges people from the outside, all of a sudden they find a deposition from 15 years ago and then, oh, he had a worm in his brain. Then you find out 1.7 billion people have that same parasite, right? So I can give you 1,000 examples. Marianne Williams, crystal lady, yeah, she's never done anything with crystals. But the minute you challenge the establishment from the outside, and it's happened to me too, it happens to Bernie Sanders, it happens to people on the left and the right. It's not about conservative or progressive. It's outsider versus insider. The insiders come to get you. So they're coming to get Matt Gaetz because of what he did with Kevin McCarthy. And they're not hiding it. Kevin McCarthy's like, oh yeah, take this investigation. See how you like it. Even though he's already out of Congress, he's bragging about how they are going after Gaetz because of what he did to Kevin McCarthy. Well, that ruins the whole system. Now we don't know what's right and what's wrong. So, so is the answer to let Matt Gaetz go? No. Okay, so good, finish the investigation. Then I'd like an investigation on 80% of Congress that has either done something sexually inappropriate or used illicit drugs. Those are the 2 remaining charges against Matt Gaetz. I mean, I got the over under at around, there's a lot of women in Congress now. I'll put it at 75% of Congress has done one of those 2 things. okay? But they never get investigated because they're good boys and girls, good boy and girl. Way to do what the donors say, way to do what the establishment says. So the problem isn't who's being charged, the problem is who's not being charged.
Sure, I agree with you there. I just don't have a lot of sympathy for Matt Gaetz as it relates to his populism and his attempts to bring ethics to Congress. So you mentioned the money in politics efforts, you mentioned the insider trading stuff. The knock on him from the right, and even though it's from the right, I still think they do have him pegged. He does this stuff just for attention and donations because he is, I think, the only Republican who doesn't take corporate PAC money.
That's right.
So he needs to pander, he needs to appeal to a broader base to bring in donations to fund his campaigns. It's a situation I think every politician should be in. I think a lot of their messaging would change if they had to go out and ask for small dollar donations an entire cycle. But I don't believe he is actually genuine because I see how he cozies up to Trump. I see how he cozies up to other powerful Republicans when it's convenient for him. Do you think Trump is going to pass a bill that would outlaw corporate PAC money, that would rein in corporate influence? Absolutely not. So if this is something that Matt Gaetz stands for, why is he so close with the guy who would kill it in a heartbeat and brag about doing it? Why is he cozying up to the guy who wants to cut corporate taxes or who is going out begging for money from oil companies in exchange for giving them what they want, for gutting climate regulations, for gutting green energy? Is this somebody who really deeply cares about corporate influence in our politics, or is this somebody who's just trying to make a name for himself? So for that matter, I don't care. Go after him. If he did something wrong, I don't care. I do hear you though. It is a bigger problem, and they do go after people when they get out of line. You saw it with Cawthorn, you even saw it with Santos. No one looked into him. I'm sure they all knew, but no one really cared until he started to show, oh, this guy's a loose cannon. Like he can't be controlled, he can't be reined in. Maybe we go after him. And then his own party kicked him out. So at that point, sure. But if he went in there, stayed quiet, towed the line, I don't know if they would have actually done anything about him.
Yeah, so Santos is a bit of an odd case because he was so over the top that it was embarrassing the Republicans. Not so much that he necessarily did things that the establishment weren't that happy about. But look, I think the answer can be both. So you say, hey, do you think that Matt Gaetz has good intent? No, I would be very surprised if Matt Gaetz had good intent. And is he innocent of these charges? I don't know, but based on the public evidence, I'd also be surprised about that, right? So I'm not defending Matt Gaetz's actions. I'm not defending Matt Gaetz on that, oh golly, gee, he's so consistent. So he calls out Trump every time he goes and begs donors for money and says, I'll do whatever you, I'll be your servant, I'll be your dog. That's what Trump says all the time to his donors, right? Does Matt Gaetz ever call him out for that? No, of course not, right? No, but I get it. That's the reality of Republican politics. We're gonna cover a story later in the show. This guy who's a massive conservative in the most conservative group in the Republican Party, he endorsed DeSantis, but didn't say anything negative about Trump, and Trump's trying to eliminate him. So if you say even the slightest thing against Trump, like So we might not like that, but that's the reality that they live in. So I'm not saying that Matt Gaetz is a great guy. Of course not. I'm not saying that all I'm saying is I hate the system that brazenly targets anyone that they don't feel played ball.
Sure.
And Matt Gaetz, maybe for the wrong reasons, but didn't play ball. And there is one thing that I like in what Matt Gaetz did, and that I don't agree with Democrats on, and I don't agree with Republicans on. So when he did the challenge of McCarthy, so was it to get attention? Of course, right? But at the same time, he did have a list of demands, and he got a lot of those demands. And he used his leverage. That's hardball politics, and that's why he's being punished. Don't ever use your leverage, shut up and do as you're told. And unfortunately, the progressives on our side, they listened to that. They shut up and they did as they were told. And they know that if they get out of line, something like this is gonna happen. Jabal Bowman got out of line supporting the Palestinian people too much. And now all of a sudden, oh my God, I found this against him, I found that against him. Today, a total horse crap story about some, oh my God, well, he wanted to use me as a token Jew. There's like a 2% chance that story's true. Okay, so like all these stories pop out of everywhere, right? The minute you challenge the establishment. So that's why they've cried wolf too many times, and they cover up massive crimes for people on the inside, massive. And so, last thing on it is, so whether he did it for attention or not, the banning insider trading by Congress people is definitely the right law, okay? And so, meanwhile, Congress people have benefited to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars through that insider trading. So are we gonna kick all of them out for basically stealing hundreds of millions of dollars from us? No, they're all gonna be rewarded. The press is gonna tell you they're leading their race. They have the most money. They're the leading candidate. They're the strongest candidate. They're wonderful candidates. They're the ones who are keeping the system perfectly. Oh, not these radicals and these outsiders. Boo, don't change anything. Don't change anything. Say they didn't change anything. They stole a couple $100 million. What's the big deal? Let's let them go. So you punish those guys, then yes, by all means, go after Matt Gaetz, go after whoever else, right? But the hypocrisy is too much to bear. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.